Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Awesome. Great. My name is Marty. I'm the Adult Programming Coordinator for Peter White Public Library. Hi over there. And I want to welcome you to our concert on the steps with Kenji Lee and the Fortune Teller Trio. Yes. I've been telling everybody this is the concert they don't want to miss this summer. I really have been doing that. So, but I want to make you aware. Well, first I have to thank a couple groups. First, I got to thank the Carol Paul Memorial Trust Fund because they are the ones that pay for all the musical acts that are here. So, Carol Paul's great. And also, I have to thank the Friends of Peter White Public Library. If you are watching the video of this concert, you can thank the Friends for that because they pay for all the equipment that allow us to do that. Yes, they're so great. I can't do like 95% of the stuff that I do here without the Friends. So I'm just going to make you aware of a couple things that are coming up this week and next. Tomorrow night, for all you poets out there, anyway, for all you poets out there, we have our monthly meeting of the Marquette Poets Circle starting at 6:30 p.m. up in the Shiras room. We workshop poems from 6:30 to 7:15. If you don't want to workshop poems, you can come for the open mic. That starts at 7:15, goes to 8 p.m. And it's always a great, great night. And then next Wednesday, we have our next group that's going to be a concert on the steps, although the weather is not looking great right now, but it's the UP and weather can change just like that. So anyway, we have 4 Shillings Short. It's a Celtic group that's going to be here for a concert on the steps. Lots of other great stuff coming up. I'm not going to bore you with this. You can pick it up. I've got the August, and I also have the September schedule as well. We have quite a few bands that are going to be coming up. Besides 4 Shillings Short, we have Joyride after that. And then we have the Flatbroke Blues Band, who are going to be playing on the Blues Day Tuesday. And I'll tell you the next 2 bands. In September, we have the Knockabouts, who are going to be playing. And then in October, we have Cloverland, who's going to be playing a concert. So lots of great music coming up. But I'm going to turn things over to these guys here. I'm going to give you a little introduction, but I'm sure that Kenji's going to talk a lot more about it. But this is Kenji Lee and the Fortune Teller Trio. This is Andy. This is Jonathan. And they are all the way up from, they came from Ypsilanti, but I think he said we're down in Detroit too.
Yeah.
So
Cleveland before that.
Wow. Okay, so they're all over the place. They drove up from the Detroit area today. So anyway, they're touring with Kenji's newest record, Kudo.
Indeed.
I got it. Kudo. Which features the percussionist of Jonathan and bassist Andy, and also a vocalist who is not here, unfortunately, tonight, Esther. They do have their CDs here if you want to purchase one. The group recently performed at the Jazz Detroit, the 2023 Detroit Jazz Festival, and is listed as Best Jazz on Bandcamp in January 2023. So please give a big Peter White Public Library welcome to Kenji Lee and the Fortune Teller Trio.
so much. Give it up for Jonathan Barahall Taylor on the drums. That's John Taylor. Give it up for Andy Peck on the double bass. Andy Peck. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Like Marty mentioned, we're all the way here from Detroit area, Ypsilanti, Hamtramck, 7 hours away. We drove here this morning, and we made it just in the nick of time. And so we're so happy to be here playing for you all. Thank you so much. This is actually my first time ever in the UP, and so it's yeah, I love it. I'm gonna move. So we started with a composition that was kind of uncovered from the vault, if you will, a few years ago. It was a lost recording by the great saxophonist John Coltrane. Any John Coltrane fans out there? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When great tenor saxophonist heard that there were new discovered recordings of John Coltrane, he said it was like finding a new room in the pyramids of Giza, which I think is, that says enough, right? We continued with a composition by our bass player, Andy. That was from a series of what he calls the happiest songs I could write in one try. And that was a song called The Dog Park. We're going to continue now with A Piece of Mind. This is a piece that I wrote after I visited my aunt who lives out in Phoenix, Arizona. Anybody been to there's a musical instrument museum in Phoenix, Arizona. Anyone ever seen that? It's the world's largest musical instrument museum. And I was walking around the museum and I was seeing, music from all over the world. Music from Sudan, music from Japan. I'm trying to think of another word that rhymes with those, but it's escaping me. Saipan. Anyways, music from all over the world. And I kept coming across instruments that felt so similar, thousands of miles away. You would see there would be a drum in one culture that would look identical to a drum in another culture 3,000 miles away. Because, we're human beings. You see human beings have natural tendencies, They see an animal in the wild and they say, oh, there's a skin and some bones. Maybe I could make that into a drum, Or they say, okay, oh, and let me turn this piece of wood into something that rings, Maybe I'll put some strings on it, Maybe I'll use the tail of a horse, or I'll use, some other parts of the animal and make an instrument out of some strings, right? And so all over the world, there's all these instruments, that are all related. I thought that was really moving, especially in a time in which the world feels so connected and also so far apart. It's kind of a great reminder, that we all come kind of from the same source. And so one of those instruments that I saw everywhere is what ethnomusicologists and musicologists call the lute. The lute is any stringed instrument. Like what Andy's playing, you might say, that's not a lute, that's a double bass. Well, it's also a lute. My mother, as a child in Japan, played the shamisen, which is it's kind of like a Japanese banjo, also a lute. If you put them side by side, you'd be like, oh, that's just a big shamisen, right? Anyways, so that was really moving to me. This is a piece of mine called Lute. Thanks so much for your listening ears. We really appreciate it.
Hope you have time to stick around and enjoy.
Of course.
Thank you.
might know him, and you might love him. His name was Edward Duke Ellington. That was a composition of Duke Ellington's entitled Black and Tan Fantasy. We're going to continue now with another one that's kind of new in our book. One of the things that I think a lot about in this ensemble is how to kind of cross boundaries with styles and cross boundaries with the way we play and maybe where we choose our repertoire from, you know. So I might ask John to bring in a tune or have Andy bring in a tune, you know, and we'll try it collectively as a trio. We say, oh, you know, maybe we want to try this thing or try this thing. And then I say, hey, what if we brought in this Duke Ellington tune? You know, maybe we want to try that. But then I say, you know, what about, you know, I heard this Dua Lipa song on the radio, right? And I'm like, that was kind of banging, you know? It was cool. And so maybe we'll try that, something like that. But something that we've been kind of doing more of as of late is incorporating folk songs from around the world. And this is a song that, so a little backstory, I was born in Tokyo, Japan, and every summer, my mother and I was born in Tokyo, and I moved to Los Angeles when I was like 1 year old. So I got my citizenship, you know. Anyways, and then moved to LA, and every summer we'd go back to Japan and hang out with my grandmother who was there and all my cousins. And I remember when I was over there, my grandmother, as she held us, you know, and I watched her hold my cousins, would sing her different songs, you know. And a lot of those melodies kind of ring in my head still to this day, you know. Little songs like Sakura, Sakura. Some people, you know, played that on the piano here in the States when they were younger. One of those songs is a song called Furusato, or I was telling John, in American English is Furusato, you know. So what we play, Furusato is the song, it kind of is like roughly translated to feeling of home, or like your feeling of missing your home, you know. So when you've gone off somewhere, right, and you're thinking, oh wow, you know, I miss the way my mom used to cook, I miss the way, you know, I used to play baseball with my friends in the neighborhood as a kid, you know, whatever it is, right? That feeling and that sentiment. That's something that always stuck with me. I grew up in the States, I'm, you know, an American, but still, like, I kind of have this feeling sometimes of like, oh, I can't wait to go back to Japan, you know. And so I just bought a ticket last week, actually. I'm going back for just a few days. And so I've been thinking a lot about this feeling, and so we're going to play our version of Furusato now. Thanks so much for listening. Anyone been to Paris before? Maybe? A couple people? This is a song written by the great trumpet player Don Cherry, and he says this is what the ambulances sound like in Paris.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. That was Paris Ambulance song. We got a couple more for you. How's everybody doing out there? I love Marquette. It's great. Wow. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to play a piece now by one of my favorite composers and pianists. And this is a piece by the great Frank Kimbrough entitled Lucent. this evening tonight would not have been possible without the help of a dear friend, a new friend to me, an old friend to some of the guys in the band here, and he's you know, your local knight in shining armor, I'm finding out here. That's none other than the great Patrick Booth is going to join us on this next song for our friend Pat. Where should we go to eat after this? Anyone?
Landmark.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait to check out more of your town. Like I said, we were driving for like 8 hours today. We got here, playing this music. We're hanging out with all of you. But I just like can't wait to sit down on the lake and relax. And, you know, so if you got any suggestions, come talk to us after the show. We really appreciate it.
Next door to Remy.
Okay.
Don't go to Remy's.
What do you want to do? You could just wait for it. Yeah. You played a song? This is one written by the genius of modern music, as he was called. That was none other than the great Thelonious Monk. This is Bemsha Swing. mentioned before, we kind of made a long journey here. We were in Cleveland, Ohio, and then we were in Windsor, Ontario, and then we were in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and now we're here in Marquette. We're onward. We're making it all the way to Minneapolis. You know, we're gonna die trying. And if you'd like to support us in our endeavors, we did just come out with this CD, Kyudo. It's based on the Japanese martial art of archery in a lot of ways. Kind of a lot of the concepts are very similar with what we do in this band. You know, if you want to talk to me more about that, we can definitely have that conversation. But if you'd like to take us home with you, not in that way, in this way, you can buy a CD and hang out with us, and we really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much again, Marquette.
Bravo!